In today's video, I'm doing a training for 300 agents in my sales organization, teaching them the most important skill that you need to learn if you want to become an elite salesperson that influences people with ease and gets exactly what they want. Make sure you watch the video till the end, because in order to truly understand this technique in a way that you can apply it and get the results from it, you have to fully understand every aspect of what I'm talking about. This topic that we're going to discuss today is probably, in my opinion, the most important thing to understand if you want to become more effective in sales, if you want to become more effective in influence. I will genuinely tell you this. If somebody told me, Nima, what is the most important concept that we need to learn, that we need to understand in order to go to the next level, in order to get to the top 1% in the sales industry, in order to become an amazing, forget about great, but an amazing individual when it comes to sales, this topic that I'm going to go over today is it. If you understand this concept, if you begin to practice this mentality, your skill set when it comes to influencing people, persuading people, when it comes to being great in a sales scenario, will go to a whole nother level. So here is what the topic of today's session is going to focus on: how to control the frame. Whenever you're speaking to someone, whether it's a sales scenario, whether it's a normal, friendship type of setting, there's a frame battle happening. And there's 3 frames that I'm going to focus on in today's training. And we're going to talk about what each of these frames are and how you have to deal with these frames in order to become more influential, in order to lead more people to making better decisions when it comes to their life, in order to be able to influence people at the level that you can influence them at. Here is the first thing that we need to address about human nature. Okay, human beings have 3 fundamental behaviors that are in common no matter who you talk to. All human beings have these 3 fundamental behaviors, and we need to be aware of them if we're going to become more effective in sales. Here's the first one. We chase that which moves away from us. Here's the second one. We want what we cannot have. Here's the third one. We only place value on things that are difficult to obtain. This is common amongst all humans. Doesn't matter what their culture is. Doesn't matter what the religious background is. Based on how all of us are wired, we have these 3 things in common. We chase that which moves away from us. We want what we cannot have. And we only place value on things that are difficult to obtain. This is important to understand if you're going to understand the concept that I'm going to share today. Because here's the reality of it. The reason somebody stays an amateur in the sales industry, or someone stays an amateur when it comes to influencing others, because they want to sell so bad, they want to influence so bad. That's why they're so ineffective at it. Nothing is worse than giving off an energy of desperation when it comes to influence. Nothing is worse than giving off energy that you need the other person when it comes to sales. And so many people fall into that trap, especially when you're new, because you want to win so bad, you want to grow so bad, you want to get results so bad. I know you do. That's why you're on this call. I do too. And sometimes that desire for getting what we want goes so high that we end up giving off a desperate vibe, that we end up giving a needy vibe. And that turns the person that we're talking to off immediately. And when they get turned off by our energy, they don't listen to the words that we're giving them. So yes, the information you're providing people is phenomenal. Yes, the services and products are phenomenal. But if the person feels off-put by your energy because it's a little desperate, it's a little needy, they can't hear a single word that you're saying. This is why it's so important for anyone who wants to achieve major success to develop an abundance mindset. An abundance mindset means that there is many people out there. So if one person says no to you, it doesn't mean your business is over. Abundance mindset means whatever you want is out there in high levels of quantity. And there's enough for everyone. Because when you have that abundance mindset, the way you interact with people changes. Here's another thing that can help you develop an abundance mindset. Have a giving mentality, not a taking mentality. It's very easy to get into a scarcity, into a desperate, needy vibe when you're focused so much on what you want, when you're focused so much on taking. If you're going into a sales call thinking, I need to sell this person. If you're going into a recruiting conversation thinking, I need to recruit this person, whether it's an invite, whether it's a follow-up, whether it's a meeting, you're not going to give the right energy to be able to influence them at the level you want to influence them. But if you go into that sales interaction and you think, I want to give this person great financial information, it doesn't matter whether the person says yes or no. I just want to go into it and give my best and give amazing financial information. So hopefully this person walks away from the call a little bit more financially literate than when they came in. Reduce the scarcity, reduce the desperation, and go into it thinking about what you can give. And if all you can give is just some positivity, that's more than enough. Here's why this is important. In order to have the right frame, to influence, you need to be the price. Meaning, if you go into an invite thinking, if only they say yes, this will be so great for me, who's the prize in that interaction? Is it you or the person you're inviting and prospecting? It's the person you're inviting and prospecting, yes or no? If you go into a meeting, into a closing meeting, and you say, if only this person closes, I'll be able to afford this thing, or I'll be able to make this much commission, or I'll be able to qualify for this contest. Who's the prize, you or the person? The person, because you want something from them, and if they say yes to you, you'll have what you want. If they're the prize, you'll never influence them. If they're the prize, you will never influence them. You will never influence someone who you want something from. You can only influence people that want something from you. That means if you go on that invite and you think, man, I have a phenomenal opportunity, and this person is gonna have their lucky day because I'm gonna be the one that goes and tells them about it. If you do that, now you're the prize. If you go into your meeting and you say, wow, I'm gonna share some awesome financial information, and this person's gonna learn some good stuff, and I'm so excited to be able to teach them this. Who's the prize now? You're the prize. If you go into it thinking, I got a great strategy that I designed for this, I got a customized financial plan that I designed for this person, and I can't wait to share it with them because I know what an impact it's going to make for them. Who's the prize now? You or them? And as soon as you become the prize, you can influence. As soon as you become the prize, they're going to listen to you because no one will ever become a client to benefit the company. No one. I don't care what business it is. How many of you bought an iPhone because you felt sorry that Apple might not have enough money? Raise your hand. I'd like to know. How many of you bought an iPhone because you're like, I just don't know if they have enough money saved up? By the way, I can tell you how much money Apple has saved up. Trust me, they have more than enough. Their cash reserves are in the billions. But did anyone have any of you ever bought Subway thinking, I just need to make sure Subway gets enough profit? I actually want to know, is there anyone here that has ever gone to a business and been like, my main reason for buying this product is to help the business? Okay, if it's your friend's business, maybe. But let's be honest. If you buy 100 products this year, 99.9 of them are because it would benefit you in some way. Maybe 0.1% because it was going to help a friend with a new business they started or something. So a client will never, ever do something for you. They will only do it to benefit themselves. That's why if you don't go into the interaction with a very clear mind that you are the prize, that you are there to give them value, why would they think that you can give them value? If you don't go into it believing you can offer value, why would they think you can give them value? All sales is a transfer of energy and transfer of belief. If you believe you're the prize, the person will believe it as well. If you believe you have value to add, the person will also believe it. But if you don't, it's going to be a very hard interaction for you. So here are the three frames. These are the three main frames that you will come across in any social interaction with another human being. The first is a power frame. The second is an analytical frame. The third is a moral frame. So power frame, analytical frame, and moral frame. And we're going to discuss together what each of these frames look like, what are the pros and cons in them, and how do you combat it when you come against someone who has that frame. Let's start with the power frame. You know what's a great example of a power frame? You're driving at a higher speed than you should. Who here has ever driven at a higher speed than they should have? Okay, if you don't raise your hand, good for you. Way to be a safe driver. But for those of you that have, what is a risk that might happen if you're driving at a higher speed than you should? All of a sudden, the sirens go off and there's a police officer right behind you. Now, when the police officer pulls you over and they're walking up to your window, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is anything they ask you, you have to oblige. Yes or no? They say, give me your ID. What do you say? Yes, sir. They say, why were you speeding so much? Are you going to be like, none of your business? God, what do you want from me? Is that what you're going to say? I hope you don't say that in response. Probably what you're going to say is some excuse or some reason. Why are you, giving so much to this person? Because they have a power frame over you. Because in that setting, that police has a power over you. They have status over you. Meaning, in that moment, you're at their mercy. If they choose to be nice to you, they won't give you a ticket. If they're having a bad day and they choose to, be a little bit hard on you, they're going to give you a big ticket. Yes or no? And there's nothing you can do about it. If they're at that moment, they got the power frame over you. And they have full influence over any actions you take. If they say, sir, get out of the car, ma'am, get out of the car, guess what you're doing? Getting out of the car. Are we all on the same page here? That's an example of somebody in a power frame, meaning somebody has a higher level of status than you. Somebody has something they have over you that makes them in that interaction a more powerful force than you. Is that fair? When you go to the doctor applies the power frame. The doctor goes, please sit there. Please open your mouth. Please look in. Yes or no? And why do you oblige? Because you're there to get value from the doctor. The doctor is not getting value from you. So the power frame is when the individual in the interaction has a social status or something above you in that interaction. Many of you are going to get into that situation when you're in business. Sometimes you're going to invite someone who maybe makes more money than you. Sometimes you're going to be sitting down in a presentation with someone who has more success than you. Maybe they're older than you. They have something in terms of their social status that is above your current stand. I'll give you an example for myself. When I first got into business and sales, I was a 20-year-old kid. I had no beard. I looked like I was 11 years old. I have a little bit of, I shaved. As a 20-year-old kid that looked like they were 9, I was trying to give people financial advice. Okay? Understand that some of these people that I was giving financial advice to were engineers. Some of them were doctors. Yes or no? By the way, I wasn't making much money in the business back then. So I didn't have I wasn't like, oh, I'm making so much and I'm so successful. None of that was happening. So every time I was in a sales interaction, I was coming up against the power frame. Either because the person was older than me, maybe it's because they had more success than me, maybe it was. So let me share with you how I would combat that power frame. Here's the first thing. The first thing is I would always dress up above what they were expecting. If you're a younger person and you have the same issue as me, you got to always be dressed up. Because if you're going into the meeting wearing some like a hat and a t-shirt and you want to give financial advice, not only do you already look young, but now you look immature. So I remember my first 2 years in business, every day I woke up, I had the same outfit, which was a suit, tie, and I had to look sharp because I already had a few things going against me. I needed to at least have a sign that I had some status, which was dressing professionally. That's one. Here's another thing. I had to be extremely punctual with showing up on time. Meaning, if I came late, if I showed anything that they could pick on, they would pick on it. So I had to make sure I'm on top of my game. Here's the third thing. I had to know what I was talking about. Because I was doing the presentation. Some of you have a trainer, no problem. You bring them to the trainer, you leverage your trainer, you edify your trainer, you give your trainer status when you edify your trainer, so the trainer takes it away. But when you're doing your own presentations, you got to know what you're talking about. You got to be on top of your game. What this did was give me credibility, which started to even out the score a little bit when it came to the power frame. Here's the next thing. And now we're going to get into a little bit of advanced stuff. You have to be the boss. Let me tell you what it means you have to be the boss. You're in a setting where the other person thinks they have more social status over you. They look at you and they go, this guy's a young guy. I don't know if he's got anything. Here's what they're going to try to mess with you a little bit. So what would happen sometimes to me is I would be in the middle of a presentation, and back then we would have flip charts. They would try to take my flip chart from me. Not like in a bullying type of way, but they'd be like, let me look at this a little closer. Here's what I would do when I learned this stuff. Here's what I would do. I would say, hey, with all due respect, I'm actually going over the presentation, and it's really important that I stay on track with it. If you want to see this later, I have no problem give you a copy of it after we're done. Let me tell you what happens to that person right now. We're talking about an engineer. We're talking about a doctor. We're talking about someone who has status that I'm sitting down with in this case. They go, wait a minute. No one talks to me this way. What the hell? Wait, who the hell is this kid? That's the first. Who the hell does this kid think he is? But I got so much confidence and posture, and I'm respecting them, so they can't really go at me. I'm like, hey, with all due respect, I know you're excited to see this information at a closer look. Let me finish what I'm explaining here. At the end, I can give you a copy and you can take it home with you. Here's what I'm doing right now. I'm showing who's the boss. I'm gaining status. Here's another thing that would happen. I would be going through the presentation and they would be looking at their watch and they like do this body language like they're bored. Most people who are in a desperate type of mentality, who are in a scarcity mentality, who don't want to lose the person, You know what they go? They go, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to offend them. You know what I would do? I would stop my presentation. Think about it. It's 2015, 2016. I'm a 20-year-old kid. I'm sitting in front of a full-grown adult, and they're doing this. I would stop my presentation and would say, do you have somewhere to be, or am I just boring you? With all due respect, do you have somewhere to be, or am I just boring you? How, do you understand that they have no, like this, you got to understand something. The reason this works is because it's a shock to the system. Because no one does this, especially in Canada. We have such a polite culture and polite society. No, this is like unheard of, especially by a young person who's trying to sell them from their point of view. And then they go, and here's what would happen every time. No, I'm not bored. Not at all. Sorry, I was just looking at the time because I wasn't sure. Didn't mean to offend you. Go on. This is how you combat a power frame, by showing who's the boss, by taking risks like that. In the book Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff, he has an example where he walks into an office with a billionaire, and the billionaire has two of his like assistants or whatever beside him. And they're kind of sitting down making jokes. The guy comes in and they kind of expecting like a entertaining sales presentation. Okay, go ahead, tell us what it is. And the guy's like taking a bite out of the apple. This is the billionaire, like taking a bite, just enjoying himself. And guess what Oren Klaff does? He walks in, takes the apple right out of his hand, takes a bite out of it, and goes, wow, it's a really good apple. I can tell why you're so excited to eat it. And then puts the apple on his desk. And then he goes, all right, gentlemen, are we ready to start? Immediately, he took because the guy has the two assistants. He's a billionaire. He's like, whatever. He's having he's taking a bite out of the apple, chewing it loudly. And immediately when the guy, when he took the apple and he took a bite, I was like, wow, this is a really good apple. No wonder you're so excited to eat it. Puts it on the table. Guess what happens to that billionaire's mind? Shock. Who the hell is this guy taking my... And they're so shocked that they're paying attention now. And now you have just gained the social status. That's what we're talking about when we say you got to gain social status in a situation like this. And the way they're going to try to take your status from you is by they're going to try to dominate the presentation. Here's what you're going to hear sometimes. Can you just go through this part a little quicker? I already know this stuff. You know what most people do? Yes, sir. Let me go faster so you can, because I really need you to say yes to me so I can get everything that, because they're the prize and you want something from them. But if you're giving them information, here's what you do. To meet someone who's as financially literate as you is phenomenal. I love that. If it's okay with you though, I would like to go over it anyways because I want to avoid having too many questions at the end. So I'm sorry if this bores you. I'm going to go through this very quick. It's only going to take me 10, 15 more minutes. I'm sure you're going to love it. And hey, you know what I've learned in my life? Repetition is the mother of learning. So even if you know this stuff, never hurts to learn more. And it all can happen naturally if you're the prize. If you're the prize in the interaction, if you truly believe you're the one giving the value, all the things that I just told you happens naturally. But if you're going in there wanting a yes, needing a yes, you're going to be too scared to do any of this stuff. And even if you do it, it's not going to come off right. You're going to be like, if it's okay though, I'm just going to finish this part of the presentation. I'm really happy you're financially literate. Okay, if it's okay with... Doesn't work. Tonality means a lot. Posture means a lot. If you're scared of losing the person, you'll never be able to have the power frame posture in your conversations. Here's the second one, the analytical frame. What is the analytical frame? The analytical frame is the person who constantly says, show me the numbers, show me the numbers. Okay. Can we just go to the point so you can show me the numbers really quick? I just want to see what it looks like. And they calculate the small things. You'll come across this with engineers. You'll come across this with people that are naturally analytical. They just want to know the numbers. Here's how you combat the analytical. Here's the thing. With the analytical frame, it's okay to give them the information. You should give them the information. If you actually look at our presentation style, guys, and I'll talk about the moral frame in a second so you'll see, but the analytical side is there. The moral side is there, right? It's all there. That's what the presentation is built to deliver all that. But you do need to give them the numbers and the information. Don't get me wrong. But here's the thing that you need to remember when it comes to the analytical frame. No one will ever make a decision from an analytical frame. Meaning, if the person is in an analytical frame, you will never close them until you get them out of it. Because information wants more information. Here's the mistake that amateurs make. They go, this person's so analytical. Let me tell them all the numbers. Let me give them all the information. Let me go into every little detail because they want it. And you give them everything that they want. And you know what they'll say at the end of the presentation? Thank you so much. This was so informative. You know, no one has ever educated me at this level. If it's okay with you, I want to do some research and I want to go think about it. So here's how you combat this. You got to take them to emotion. So you'll show them some numbers. You'll show them all the stuff. Here's what you need to do at some point. But, you know, let's talk about why it's important for you to actually have this. And you got to move it towards emotion. You got to move it towards why they want the product, not just about how the product works. Because if you don't deliver the why, you will never get a decision out of them. So if you're in a closing type of scenario with an analytical person, give them some of the numbers. Obviously, we're going to give them the numbers. That's a given. It's part of the presentation. But make sure you move them to emotion before you ask a closing question. And here's how you can do that. Feel, felt, found. You know, John, I know exactly how you feel. When I was going through these presentations, I felt just like you. I wanted to know all the information. I wanted to know all the details. I wanted to know every inch of it. But you know what I found? That if I do the application, I have more than enough time to research while the application is in process. You know what else I found? And I found out this the hard way. I had some great people that sat down with me that were just like you, that are just like me. And they went and think about it. They went to do more research. They went to learn more. But guess what happened? 2 weeks later, when I followed up with them, they told me they went to the doctors and they found out they have MS. They can never get insurance again. This actually has happened to me, by the way, before. It's happened to one of our team members before too. See, what I just did was I just moved them into an emotional discussion by starting with feel, felt, found, and then moving it into a story. Now, you could also just move it to a story. But the reason feel, felt, found works is because you stop them in their track by creating empathy and by creating understanding. Because they keep asking questions. John, I know how you feel, man. When I was learning this stuff, I was just as excited as you. I wanted to know everything. But here's what I found. And then you go into your story. And that's where the emotion comes in. And when the emotion comes in, now you can close them. When the emotion comes in, now you can influence them. Let's go to the next one. The moral frame. What is the moral frame? By the way, you see the moral frame every day now in the cancel culture. Cancel culture is all about moral frame. Cancel culture is all about, oh yeah, you're more successful, you're more famous, you're more this, but you're a bad person. And this is why you, right? Moral frame is somebody trying to come at you with a higher level of moral, with a higher level of integrity. This is actually a very good moral and actually power frame happening at the same time. So I finished doing a business presentation with someone, and it was someone that had already become a client. And I'm obviously encouraging them to get in business with us. And he tries to come and do like a power frame / moral frame with me, where he goes, let me ask you a question, Nima. Do you recruit everyone? Now, one, why is it a power frame? Because he's trying to come at me as if I'm trying to get him. Like he's the prize, right? And he's also trying to play this moral frame as if to say like, oh, you just do that, you just say this thing to everyone because you're trying to recruit, right? That's where he's coming from. Here's how you don't handle this. No. We look for the right people. No, it's not like that. That's how you lose that person. You know what I respond to them? I said, I'm so happy you asked this question. Yes, we recruit everyone as long as they're above the age of 19 and they don't have a criminal record. Thank you for asking. And you know why we do that? Because I believe in what we do so much. I believe in this financial education so much. I believe in financial literacy so much that if I can recruit every person in Canada to come to our financial education sessions to get this license so they can manage their own money, I can die happy knowing that I've made a difference in the world. So yes, we do recruit everyone. Do you know anyone else other than you that I can recruit? The guy's face was like, that's awesome. No, I love the fact that like you're so passionate about this. I don't see that often. No, this is really good. Yeah, let's have another meeting. I want to learn more about this. The way you stand to the moral frame is by showing your level of integrity and morale from a confident place. When someone gives you a moral frame, don't get defensive. Don't try to fight back. Don't try to prove to them how great you are. Instead, maintain your posture, be respectful, and actually be happy that they bring it up. And be happy by bringing back the moral frame to them where you say, I love that you asked this because I want to educate people on this. There's so much misinformation out there that I want to make sure you don't have it. And with that frame, that conversation will go so much more smooth. These are the 3 main frames you will come across. Sometimes you'll sit down with someone that'll give you all the frames. This is how you got to go about it in order to get the best results. If you enjoyed this video and liked watching me do a training for my organization, I have another video where I'm doing the exact same thing, but this time I'm teaching them about how to effectively listen and speak to take your communication skills to the next level. Click right here to watch that. Hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're notified every time you have a new video, and comment below what were some of your main takeaways from today's video so we can all learn together. Thank you. Bye-bye.